Friendships never go out of style.
Oh, you're the best friend anybody's ever had, and it's funny, but I feel as if I've known you all this time, but I couldn't have, could I? If you're not over here in 15 minutes, you can find a new best friend. Welcome to the Best Friends Playbook podcast.
With your hosts, Crystal
and Allie.
We've known each other for over 27 years, and we're here to share our wisdom on friendships in film, TV, and literature.
Grab some coffee, our favorite, and get cozy.
All right, tits up.
Tits up.
We're here for another episode of Best Friends Playbook podcast. And if
Yay.
you can't guess by that quote, we're doing the marvelous Mrs. Maisel.
Yay. Susie and Maisel, or Susie and Midge, or Miriam.
Miriam, but yeah, I called her Midge in all my notes because
I call her Maisel in all my notes.
That's funny.
Because she's Mrs. Maisel, so that's just how I do it. So
gotcha. That makes
whatever.
Sense. Yeah. I guess I like her nickname Midge. It took me forever to realize her actual name was Miriam.
Yeah, I personally really hate the name Midge, but I don't know. It doesn't bother me when it's her, I guess.
Yeah.
I would never name my kid something where it ended up being Midge, but it's a good cat name, actually, or dog name. I love naming my animals after old people.
Oh, yeah.
So, I love old man names, Norman, Esther.
Except Chubby is not an old man name.
No, I mean in the future.
In the future.
These dogs came with their names. Emilio is an old man name for the Latino variety, because I've been told by many of my friends that their grandfather's named as Emilio. So
yeah, he has a very interesting dog name for sure.
Well, he's Mexican, so
yeah,
it works.
Fine. Yeah, so I have to get this off my chest. I talked to you about this when I watched this show, but
yeah,
going into watching The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, being a big fan of Gilmore Girls, it was really hard for me to settle into the show. I think because Warner Brothers made Gilmore Girls a very specific show, and I think this was actually more of probably what Amy and Daniel wanted. But obviously the creative constraints were there. But I was still very used to a specific style, something more serial sitcom, because that's what Gilmore Girls is. It has a through plot line, but you can kind of hop into any episode and there's always a random shenanigan happening in that episode.
Yeah.
So this was very long form storytelling. It feels like a very long movie.
And there's titty in the first episode, which is you never saw that in Gilmore Girls, because
yeah, exactly.
It wasn't on a platform like it is now, but
yeah, I mean, you can pretty much do almost anything on Amazon. And the style of the show, it's still her fast-paced, witty banter dialogue, but obviously since it's set in the 50s, it just feels very different.
I, on the other hand, loved it immediately. I was talking to my mother-in-law about it, actually, because she tried to watch it and couldn't get into it. And I was first episode, me and Jay were apart that night. He was watching his parents' house and I was watching our house with our dogs. And I was watching it and I was texting him the whole time, oh my God, this show is your family, because his family is Jewish. They're from New York. They worked in the garment industry during that era. And his grandma's name is Shirley, and and they lived on Riverside Drive. So it was perfect. It was just entirely his family. And I was texting him the entire time, oh my God, this is the show that we never knew we were missing.
Yeah, when I started watching, I definitely really wanted you and Jay to watch it, because I felt like there would be a lot of relatability there.
We have since told his whole family, oh my God, you need to watch this. It's every Jewish family you've ever met, honestly.
And I don't know if Amy and Daniel are Jewish, but they feel like they nailed everything on the head.
Yeah, I don't know if they are, or if they know somebody that is, or that could write all of the I learned Jewish or Yiddish words on this show that I didn't even know. A shiksa. I didn't know what a shiksa was. And then I asked Jay and he's explaining it to me. And yeah, so I've learned a lot. I've learned even more about Judaism through this show.
Yeah, it doesn't really say anything on. Oh, okay. So on Amy Sherman Palladino's Wikipedia page, she has stated that she was raised as Jewish, sort of.
Okay.
Whatever that means. So yeah. She must have people in her life. She must have been around the Jewish community a lot, because yeah, it was pretty accurate with everything.
It was very accurate. It was so funny. I cannot wait for the next season of the show because I just love it.
Yeah, I was really stressed out about what happened at the end of season 3. So sorry guys, season 3 has been out for a while. There's going to be spoilers in this. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah. It's a damn good season though.
It was. So we're going to be specifically talking about Midge and Susie in this episode. And Crystal and I were talking earlier and we said, this is a little weird for us because they have a very business ship friendship. Susie becomes Midge's manager but theirs is a very like personal, intertwined relationship that they have here.
But I think what I really enjoyed about it in the beginning is how much Susie hates Midge because she's like showing up to the club and like giving out a brisket to like make the club manager like let her husband go on stage for like prime time comedy hour, and he sucks ass at it. So it's like, so Susie just fucking like hates her, won't even look at her. She'll just be like, no, one word answers. So I really enjoyed their like banter and how much they did not like each other at the beginning. So
and had that not all been happening, when the big thing happens to Midge that kind of is the catalyst for this whole story is her husband is
bounces. He's like, I'm out.
His ego gets crushed. He's like, you ruined everything for me, so I can't be with you now. Wah, wah, wah. Cry me a river.
But he's also like cheating on her and and I'm just like, yeah, you can go, dude.
Yeah. So he leaves. So she gets drunk and goes to the club and does stand up. And that's when Susie is like, holy fuck, this girl is gold.
She is so funny.
Yeah.
So funny.
And I love like how much Susie is like pleading with her and vouching with her. And she's like, you are the real fucking shit. I want to represent you. Like, she's like begging her, but at the same time, she's also like has so much confidence in Midge for what she's capable of.
Yeah. In that first like episode or two, after Midge is like drunk and does her stand up thing, which she doesn't remember at all, but she's full on shows her tits during it. And I think she gets arrested, right? In that first,
because women cannot be vulgar.
Right. But on top of that, she showed her tits, but doesn't remember any of that. And Susie, I don't even think, Susie like gets her out of jail and helps her get a lawyer later on. So she is like fully committed the moment she gets on that stage and kills it. And she's like, I'm going to make sure this bitch does big things.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like because of how much Susie believes in Midge, I feel like that is like the starting point of their friendship. Like it's a really small seed, but like your friends in your life have to believe in you 100%. And I feel like Susie's really excited. She's passionate about it. And she just like, she'll do anything to make this work. And it's not even about Susie thinking, I mean, she thinks she can make money off Midge, but she's just excited to find someone who's like a real talented stand-up comedian. And it's a woman who dresses cute, but like has a dirty mouth.
And I think what I really liked about Susie is the fact that like before that happens, she never gives any indication that like she wants to manage comedians, right? Like it's just something where she sees her and she's like, oh my God, this is my calling. I got to make her a big star because she's so funny. And who else is going to believe in her? Like women back then had so little that they could do. And being a comedian certainly wasn't big on the list. So she needed another woman to help her get there.
Yeah. So, and this might be skipping a little bit, but I feel like, eventually Midge like agrees to sign on with Susie and they're going to figure this out. So I'm going to sort of jump to what you said about women can't really do much, which brings us to the comedian. What's her name? Sophie Lennon.
Sophie Lennon.
Yeah. So Sophie Lennon puts on an act. She wears a costume. She makes herself like a fat housewife. And Midge,
but she is considered a comedian of the time.
Yes, exactly. So Midge goes and has a lunch with her and realizes she's putting on this whole front and tells Midge she can't be who she wants to be. And because Midge likes to do comedy off the cusp, she does a whole show about making fun of her, which is like bad for business. But the thing I love about that is that when Sophie's manager comes over and yells at Susie. Susie doesn't get mad at Midge. They kind of like collectively accept that they as a team fucked up.
Yeah.
But Midge also put on like a really good show, and she should be allowed to speak her mind and fuck Sophie. And we're going to keep digging at it and make it happen, which I thought was really cool that she didn't blame her, yell at her, say that she screwed it up. Like she stayed on her side.
And let's just get all of the Sophie Lennon out right now. As the show progresses, Susie ends up like telling Sophie Lennon off because she's like basically cock blocking them in the industry because of what happened. And so she not only tells Sophie Lennon off, which actually pisses Midge off because she's like, we're just finally getting somewhere, you know, but she's defending her client and her friend. And then on top of that, then Sophie Lennon comes back and goes, Susie, you're awesome. You're like, you're fighting for your client, which my manager doesn't do. So I want you to be my manager, which like causes this huge rift in between Midge and Susie for a while.
I think that was one of their most like pivotal parts. And it's like, I understand where Midge was coming from, because this is a woman that like backstabbed them, was trying to make sure that Midge didn't have any success. But at the same time, Susie has a point, like she does need to have more clients in order to be successful, which is also then going to benefit Midge from growing.
Yeah. I think it was more the fact that it was that person, you know, that, which sucks. But at the same time, I liked that Midge eventually got over it and supported her and ended up going to the Broadway show that Sophie Lennon was starring in, even though she fucked it all up. But she was there for Susie to pick up the pieces after Sophie fucked it all up.
Which is then where I feel like they've had a crossover and they've become like friends.
Because it's both sides now, you know?
Yeah. And it was really cute when they were at the party for, what's that singer's name?
Shy,
that she goes on tour with. They're sitting there and Susie's like, I feel weird around you and I don't like that. She like struggles so hard to have emotions and she gets like really emotional when her and Midge make up.
Susie is like my fucking favorite character. She's like my spirit animal, except for the fact what's really funny to me is that she always gets like confused for a dude. Everyone's like, that little boy. Like, no, that's a girl.
So good. And she's not even mad. She just kind of stares at them like
she's just like, I know. I look like a dude. Totally accepts it. But she does dress like a dude. But it's so funny. I love it.
I feel like she likes having that MO about herself.
Well, in the end, it's going to help her in the industry, right? You know, like if you get confused for a dude on the telephone, you're probably more likely to be taken seriously back then. So
exactly.
It does help her. Yeah. Yeah. She's a good character.
Yeah. So I think that fight they have over Sophie is like the biggest thing in their friendship so far. And that moment with them was really special, and them kind of coming to terms with everything that was going on, because like Susie just could have kept things awkward, but I think at that point she's admitting that Midge is like her best friend. Yeah.
And her number one client, you know, like, I mean, she's taking on Sophie Lennon, and Susie does a really good job of managing both of them and going in between while Midge is on tour. But I mean, she always makes it very clear that Midge is number one, and, you know, she'll always fly back out to see her and all that shit. So she does a good job of like mending the fence, and
she does.
Which of course was like pointless, because then Sophie fucks it up anyways and isn't her client anymore. So
oh my God, she was so crazy in that play.
It was intense. I was telling Jay, like, that is what's scary about like being in a play versus like acting in front of a camera, is like, if you fuck it up in the play, you just like have to go with it and either like continue fucking up or like pull back and get your shit together. And she just like kept going and just let it all fuck up. So
yeah, because she's like, I'm gonna make this my show and I want people to laugh at me. Yeah,
it was bad though. It was bad.
Was really bad. I felt really bad for the other actors.
I will say though, I had started on that Sophie Lennon tangent because at the end of season 3, Midge gets fired from the the tour, the Shy Baldwin tour. And it's because Susie wasn't there. She was having her own issues, which we'll talk about later, but Susie wasn't there and she freaked out because she was playing the Apollo, which was an all Black audience, and she didn't know what to talk about. So Shy's manager was like, oh, just talk about Shy, Shy, and so she does this whole set basically alluding to the fact that Shy is gay and hasn't come out of the closet. And so she gets fired. And like, while she's getting fired on the tarmac, Susie's there and Susie's like, what the fuck did you say? I don't understand. What did you say? And then when she finally, when the guy makes it very clear what she said, Susie's just like, oh, fuck, you really did that? But then she, like, as soon as the guy leaves, she immediately like supports Midge and is like, we'll get through this. And she's not pissed about it. She's supporting her person. So
yeah. And once again, she's on her side about it. But it's, I think also Susie had to do that because she wasn't there. Like, because Midge is still so new and like she hasn't fully sculpted her act. And Susie is really aware that Midge will, if she's given the opportunity, she will subconsciously go off her cusp and just talk about anything. Yeah. And not even realize where she's going with it.
Well, yeah. And it was sucky because Midge was told to talk about Shy and she killed it. The whole audience loved her by the end. Yeah. But because Shy wasn't okay with it, she got fired. And because Susie wasn't there to like rein her in and help her figure out something else to talk about.
And Reggie had no idea that she knew that he was gay.
That's true. Did he? I thought he did. Yeah.
No, Reggie didn't know. That's why when Susie
true.
goes back up to him to try and like plead with him. And he's like, I have to protect Reggie. And he goes, and this is my fault. Like he says to Susie, he goes, this is my fault. I told her to go up there and do that. And I didn't know that she knew he was gay. He's like, so this is on me. He's like, so I have to protect him now because he fucked up.
I really loved that because in the beginning of the episode, I think it was the beginning of that episode, they hint at that. There's like clear foreshadowing. He's like, you love her like more than just client manager. She's your best friend. You care about her and it's going to suck in the end because at some point you're going to do something shitty to protect her, which is exactly what he has to do at the end of the episode. So
yeah, exactly.
Good foreshadowing.
It was. Oh, and like, so while that's happening, I guess we'll just go ahead and go to Susie's biggest issue, which is that she has a gambling problem. She's never had money.
Funny.
She finally does. She starts gambling and she has too much money because Midge is like, Susie, if you don't take my money, I'm just going to spend it on shoes and purses and clothes.
That would be me, by the way. Like if I was famous, oh God, somebody better watch my money.
Yeah. So Susie spends it all on racing and other things that she can bet on.
Gambling.
Gambling.
Yeah,
gambling. Huge trouble. And luckily, very darkly, her mom dies. So her and her sister blow up.
She's so happy about it, by the way. She's like, oh, mom died. Cool. Like she hates her mom.
Yeah, she hates her. Just like she hates her brother.
Yeah.
So they blow up the house to get a security check, which will pay back from basically everything she owes Midge, which is a really good friend. And then she goes and pleads to Joel, you need to take care of all of Midge's checks moving forward because you love her. You trust her, or I know that I can trust you because you love her and believe in her more than anyone else.
He still loves her. She should have said, can you also watch my money because I have a problem. Speaking of like purchasing problems, I am currently reading Elton John's book, Me, right? The new one that just came out like over the holidays. Oh my God. He talks about, because he's like always been known to be like a huge spender. He talks about how when he would go into his like cocaine fueled spending sprees where he would wake up and wouldn't remember what he bought.
Oh God.
And he said like the worst one was he woke up one morning, couldn't remember what he bought, but the whole like house was covered in like bags of shit that he didn't even want. Like clothes, like just like really expensive clothes. And he goes, and then on top of that, I got a phone call and it turns out that I purchased a like tram, like imagine like a trolley tram from like New Zealand that had to be like airlifted into his house. And he's like, I don't even fucking want this thing. So yeah, pretty awesome. At least Susie's not like that.
Yeah. That reminds me of the ask though, like how in your contract, you have to have a weird ask.
Yeah.
Like an actual talent and they never come up with anything. So she says like, what is it, like 100 yellow teddy bears or something?
Yeah, the room has to be like filled with yellow teddy bears, which is really cute actually.
Yeah, and Midge didn't even care. She's just like,
yeah,
okay, that's what I'm doing because I'm a legit stand-up comedian.
It's so true though. When I used to work in radio, there was always those like weird asks. Like one band, it was like it had to be all brown M&Ms, no colored M&Ms in like the green room, you know. So totally true, totally accurate. So
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, people are dumb.
Yeah. So yeah, I think those are like the biggest trials and tribulations that they go through their friendship. I think it's really funny that in season 2, Midge has this weird moment where she's upset about their tour, like their really shitty tour that they went on being so bad that she kind of wants to quit. And then she meets Benjamin, Zachary Levi, just a tall glass of something.
Was that Zachary Levi? It doesn't even look like him. Really?
That's him. Mm-hmm.
The fuck? Okay.
He's a very charming tall man.
He is.
So I'm actually super upset that didn't work out because as we find out in season 3, he says, you never asked me if I would be okay with it. You just assumed. And it was like,
I know. I saw that episode and I was like, oh, he's so cute. Just maybe he's okay with it. Just get back with him. He's so adorable. But yeah.
But so during that time, before Midge meets Benjamin, she thinks she can go away on her 3-month summer vacation like she does every year.
Oh my God, I love that. The Catskills. Okay, another example. Jason's grandparents honeymooned at the Catskills. Like they used to go there all the time. So like
that's too spot on.
So funny.
So just to show even how more dedicated Susie is every time. Every time.
I don't know what's happening. Sorry.
It's okay. Just to show even more how dedicated Susie is to Midge, she shows up at the Catskills and pretends to be a plumber.
That's so funny. She's like, I just found this. I'm going to be a plumber. Just walks around with her plunger everywhere.
Yeah, just so she can get Midge shows near the Catskills. But that is where Midge's dad finds out that she's doing raunchy comedy.
Yeah.
It's bad.
And she doesn't even... What's kind of sucky about the situation is that in real life, she really doesn't do super raunchy comedy. It's not like she talks about sex, but she got booked on that one specifically to do raunchy comedy. So it was like a midnight show and he had to watch her talk about sex and her parents having sex and so awkward.
And it's just upsetting because like he went there and had it been any other comedian, he probably would have thought it was funny, but he is holding a huge double standard to her because it's his daughter.
As is the mom. Like they like really not fans of her being a comedian. But I really do love Tony Shalhoub just in general on the show. He's so fucking funny.
He's the best part of the show.
It's so funny. The first like episode or 2, he's kind of weird. I'm like, he's not like funny. It's just like weird. But then it gets better and better. So
yeah, you like learn his humor and understand why he is the way he is.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy that he won a couple awards because he's so great.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Sound the alarms.
Guys, come on.
It would not be a podcast without them.
I know. They have to be on every episode.
Yeah. So
I want to talk about just like, I think what I really love most about the Susie Midge relationship is they're both like women in a time where women are still kind of irrelevant and like second class citizens, if you want to say. And I love that part doesn't matter to them. Susie makes it very clear, like, I want to be relevant and I want to be remembered just like you clearly do. And so, fuck the world. We might be 2 women, but we're just going to kill it. And I think
that Susie definitely wants that even more because we find out later, I think it's in season 2, that she had an agent and they didn't want her because of like how she looked and stuff.
Oh, really? I don't remember that. Maybe I missed that.
Yeah, there's like a hint about it when she's at like WME or something.
Oh.
About like it's very subtle. I can't remember the exact line, but it's like her referring about like she knew another girl where it didn't work out for her, and I'm pretty sure she's like alluding to herself.
Oh, that would explain why she knows so many people in the business. Yeah. Besides the fact that she works at the club, but
yeah, it's a very subtle hint. So I think that Midge is also like her do-over.
Got it.
Which is funny because Gilmore Girls, Rory is Lorelai's do-over.
Lorelai's do-over.
Rory is like, remember how Lorelai?
Oh, you mean like history repeats itself?
Yeah, like she doesn't want her to get pregnant in high school. She wants her to go to Harvard, like she didn't get to go. Yeah. And so here we have Susie making sure that Midge gets to have a successful comedian career.
Yeah. Interesting.
So it's just, it's really interesting how she likes to play with those relationships. Also, she plays with, once again, where like Midge is Lorelai in the sense that her parents don't approve of the life that she's living.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
I do love that.
Mm-hmm.
But I think Amy and Sherman just love like parent-daughter relationships. Like,
you mean Amy and Daniel?
What'd I say?
Amy and Sherman.
Sorry.
Yeah. They have like 5 names. It's fair.
Amy and Daniel, Sherman, Palladino, right? Something like that?
Yeah. There. Amy. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I don't know. But anyways, yes. They love playing with like parent relationships. So with their daughters. So I love that.
It's very interesting. Yeah. Especially if they don't have kids. So I feel like this is their way of like trying to figure out how they would raise kids or something.
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, like having not had kids yet, I can see, a lot of my friends have kids now. So I see, I'm not joking, like history repeat itself all the time. It's creepy and weird. And you're just like, do they even realize? Because I can see it over here, but how do you bring that up with them? Like, you guys are totally repeating history. But
yeah, I think it's definitely hard to be an objective parent because all of a sudden it just happens and you're trying to like pay attention, but you're just so tired. You just like go on autopilot.
Right. And I'm not even talking like what you're talking about, which is, oh my God. Oh my God, I can't talk right now.
We need more coffee, guys.
You're talking like parenting, like how they parent or how they deal with their kids. I'm talking like physically, like the order in which they have kids, like daughters and sons, like things that they don't even control, like just that subconscious or who they marry. That's just like their dad, where you're like, oh my God, it's like Sigmund Freud kind of stuff. So I'm talking the shit that they don't even realize and don't necessarily control over versus what you're talking about, which is also true. So
Gotcha. Yeah. So just same thing, just different directions of it.
Yeah. I do love, by the way, in this show, I think they do a great job of like, showing the era just in general. And I love the way, like me and Jay always talk about it when we watch the show, how kids are just like second-class citizens.
Oh yeah.
They're just like in the background, like playing, and they just don't even pay attention to them. Yeah. Like, I was like, that was my dad as a kid. My grandma would like put him in the pool with his brothers, his older brothers, and just be like, don't torture him, and then walk inside, and they just like torture the hell out of him. Like,
yeah. Their parenting is you go to a really good school and other people deal with you all day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even at home, like, oh, you can sit in front of the TV or just sit there and be quiet.
Well, I love when her son, he's watching his show and the dad is really upset because he wants to watch his show. And she's like, if you move him, he will scream bloody murder. And the dad's like, I don't believe you. And then he does it. And he's like,
oh my God. So true.
Yeah.
So funny.
But I feel like Susie and Midge definitely have a good relationship. I feel like they're honest with each other, and when they're not, they work through it really well. Which is just typical humans. Like sometimes it's hard to talk about like the real shit right as it's happening.
Yeah.
So I feel like they definitely do have a really good, strong friendship. Way better than what Brad Pitt and Leo had in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Oh, totally. Yeah. I feel like, and they're another great example because they are a working friendship first, just like Midge and I keep wanting to say Midge and Maisel. Midge and Susie are.
Yeah.
Where, it starts as a work thing and becomes a friendship. And also in Once Upon a Time, it is kind of similar in the fact that like Leo is his superior, Brad Pitt's superior. Just like, I'm not really sure who would be the superior in this sense because Susie is the manager. Yeah. But let's be real, like Midge is the talent. And so,
it's
Susie's not like a full manager yet where she has like, all the power and all the say. Like, I feel like Midge still has that, but.
Yeah. But she still has to keep Midge in line because she knows more about the industry than Midge does.
Yeah. She still has to make sure Midge gets there on time since she's always late and.
It's so funny.
Yeah. All that kind of shit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I love how Susie lies to her constantly about the time for stuff, so she's on time.
That, by the way, is it's called Jewish Standard Time, and that is a real thing. We do that with certain members of our family. You tell them like 30 minutes prior, that way they will be there, hopefully on time, but it's usually still like 10 minutes late. So it's like totally a real thing.
That's so funny. I think I think every culture has that though. Like you can't tell, but I'm half Mexican, guys. But there's things such as brown time.
Brown time.
Yeah, you tend to show up an hour or two later when you want to. Like, we have to tell my brother that we're like, say it's like Christmas breakfast, and we'll tell him we're meeting at we'll be meeting at 9, but we tell him we're meeting at 8 because he won't get out of bed till like the last minute.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, and so my mom will be like, tell him he has to wake up at 7, so you're here by like 8:30.
Okay, so every culture has one.
Yeah.
Apparently. Although, to be fair, growing up in my household, we never did, but...
You were always on time for stuff.
Right, because my mom would make me on time for stuff. So,
yeah.
And she's like full-blown Irish, so maybe Irish people are not late. I don't know. I haven't met that many besides in my family.
Yeah.
But, and actually, now I think about it, one of my best friends is super Irish too, and she's never late. So maybe Irish people are on time.
Yeah, it's the
Catholic. Maybe American Irish people are at least. I don't know. Yeah,
maybe I can't say
it's that Catholic. It's the Catholic thing. It's that guilt.
Yeah. So maybe like Mexican Catholics, like maybe they're on time.
I don't know. Yes, I have a Mexican Catholic friend that is always on time too. See?
Yeah, so that's a thing.
Maybe it is a thing.
Yeah. So funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what would you rate this friendship?
So it's hard because we've only seen like 3 seasons, right? So like I feel like these characters are still developing in their friendship and, as their roles in their work is concerned. Yeah. But I'd probably put them at like a 7 or an 8, maybe a 7, because I feel like they still have room to grow upwards, and they still have their fights, but I'd put it like a solid 7 probably.
Yeah, I agree with that. Just because like there are on the uphill to be in like a 10, but who knows what's going to happen because a Midge might find out about Susie's gambling issue and all the money it cost her.
But and also for me, I judge friendships based on like a give and take, right? So like I'm going to tell you important facts about my life or important issues that bother me, right? Or history. And I expect you to share something as well, right? To get this like kind of connection. Yeah. And I feel like Susie does not share anything with Midge, right? Susie's like family life and everything, like where she like Midge sees where Susie lives, but other than that, she knows nothing about Susie's past. She knows nothing about her family. So I feel like that's kind of where the wall is, Midge can open up, but Susie still can't open up. So
yeah, there's even one point where Midge tells Susie that she also has to be her therapist and to get over it.
Yeah. And I feel like good friendships, it is therapy, like you can talk about anything. You can talk about your things you're scared of or things you want to happen or things that are bothering you. And it's supposed to be like a therapy session. You're supposed to listen and talk and give advice. And
yeah, because Midge's like other best friend, who's the married one, she can't talk Imogene, yeah.
Yeah.
She can't talk to her about any of these things because she's judging her. Like Imogene thinks she's supposed to be married. She shouldn't be on the road. Like she doesn't see the world the way that Midge does. And Susie's the only one that does.
Well, that's why I actually really don't like Imogene, but I like that she is kind of the catalyst to how the world felt back then, right? She is every housewife that was back then that thought that way, that, because society told them to think that way. So it's nice to have somebody there to be like, oh, hey, this is how you should be. But Susie doesn't give a fuck. She's over here and this is where you want to be.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So Imogene, by the way, drives Jason crazy. He hates Imogene because she talks so fast and she's like, I don't know. He just doesn't like her. It's quite funny to watch. He's like, fuck, I hate that bitch.
It's so funny. She's such a cute actress. I like her.
She's cute, but like I think it's more the sound of her voice that bothers him. Like the way she talks so fast and so high pitched that he hates it. Yeah.
I totally get that. Yeah, that's what I think makes her adorable. But I could see how it'd be super annoying. Yeah, and I mean, but at least we know Susie is comfortable enough to smoke a joint in Midge's bathtub.
That was so funny. Oh my God.
They are on that level of their friendship.
There's like two things that I love most that happen in the show. One is when she stays at her house and does the puts on like the robe or something. She does something in the mom's like room or whatever, and then smokes the joint in the bathtub. Second time is when she goes to the Catskills and Midge like leaves her there.
Yeah.
And she like calls her up like, what the fuck? You left him. There's like this great exchange between them. Oh God, what happened? Is it over?
No, I sent you a message.
No, but it does say less than a minute up there.
Yeah. So for everyone listening, we did this remotely off of Zoom chat. So if Zoom, you want to, sponsor us or whatever.
Because of quarantine.
Right. We're going to go ahead and wrap this up. I feel like we're pretty much done anyways.
Yeah, I can be done. We can be done.
So go watch the show. It's super funny. And thanks for hanging out and listening with us. And we'll see you next time. I believe it's Mean Girls next episode.
I have no idea.
It's either Mean Girls or The Heat. You'll find out.
We'll find out. We'll let you know.
Yeah. All right. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.
She's my friend because we know what it's like for people to be jealous of us.
It's so nice when you can sit with someone and not have to talk. You and I are a team. Nothing is more important than our friendship. Thank you for listening to the Best Friends Playbook podcast. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
You can also email us episode suggestions at bestfriendsplaybook@gmail.com. And if you could please leave us a review on iTunes, it helps us greatly to grow our podcast.